Excuse me, do you know who I am? Yeah, oh, that's right. Okay, carry on.
Shining a light on autism and life as an autistic person. Welcome to My Friend Autism, a podcast breaking down barriers, stigma, and misconceptions around autism while increasing understanding and acceptance of the autistic community. And now, here's your neurodivergent host, Orion Kelly.
Welcome back, my friend. How are you? You're answering, but you know I can't hear you. You can hear me, but I can't hear you. So when I go, how are you? And you can answer back. That's nice. I appreciate it. It's not something we can. So stop talking to me. We've been through this. I'm talking. You can hear me. I can't hear you. Will you stop? That went bad quickly. Well, welcome along to My Friend Autism. I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. I'm all about helping you raise your level of understanding, acceptance, and appreciation of the autistic community with my YouTube channels, my primary YouTube channel, and this one, my video podcast YouTube channel, although you may be just listening to my podcast where you get your podcasts, and that's good too. Good for you, Grandpa. I mean, good for you, person. I have immense respect for. Freeloader. All right, here we go. Wow, what a start. What a start. Let's explore the topic of autistic inertia. So we'll break it down, and then we'll talk about how we can manage autistic inertia in our daily life as autistic people, or if you are a parent, carer, partner, friend, family member of an autistic person. We're talking about autistic inertia. Huh? What? What's that? We're talking about strategies to manage it. Okay. So back to the what's that? Again, I can't hear you when you talk to me. We've been through this. What is autistic inertia? Let's go back, my friend, to the kind of stuff I like talking about. Sciencey stuff. Sir Isaac Newton proposed 3 laws of motion. The first of which is the law of inertia. Simply put, not because I think you're stupid, but because I am stupid and I don't know complex things. Simply put, an object in motion will remain in motion, and an object at rest will remain at rest unless acted upon by an external force. Make sense? It does make, when you think about it, it does make sense. And maybe you've jumped ahead. Maybe you've already realized, so that's why I experience autistic inertia. Is there no external force? Are you the external force? An object in motion will remain in motion, and an object at rest will remain at rest unless acted upon by an external force. So, for example, let's talk, again, sciencey stuff, right? So there's an object in space, yeah? Now, this object in space presumably will continue to move in a straight line unless it's affected by an external force, which could be the gravitational pull of a planet or another celestial body. How's that for an example? Again, I can't hear a response, but presumably you're in bloody awe of me. So much anger. So, good, you got it? Good. Autistic inertia is a common challenge for autistic people. Well, let's think about this. So, autistic inertia refers to a lack of motivation, interest, or engagement in activities. It refers to difficulty initiating or completing complex tasks and a general lack of energy or motivation. Automatically, as an autistic person, how hard is it to start doing anything? I mean, getting out of bed, showering, going to the toilet, getting dressed, doing things that you don't want to do, doing things that you actually want to do. You think autistic people just get up and just do the things that they want to do? No. It's hard, man. And this is Newton's law perfectly summarized in an autistic context. I don't mean by me, I mean like the philosophy. So we're talking about this significant barrier to our ability to function and thrive in daily life, to achieve our own goals, our own personal goals, to participate in daily life activities. Now, this can be stuff that's good and it can also be stuff that's required. Things that need to be done around the house or at work or with your family, these kind of things. And this lack of motivation can range from a difficulty in getting started with a task, which I know autistic people can relate to a complete disinterest in activities. And I'm talking even activities that have brought you joy in the past. So it's really important to understand, right, that this is actually a common challenge for autistic people. But there are strategies for managing it. Let's talk about some causes, some examples of how it manifests, and then we'll get to some strategies. But I think if we start at the groundwork of that philosophy, doesn't it already make more sense? Like, let's say you are not autistic. Let's say you're a parent, carer, family member, partner of an autistic person. And now I've given you an insight into your autistic person, the autistic person in your life, insight into, oh, right, so they're not defiant or lazy. They, in fact, may be experiencing autistic inertia because they're an object at rest. Now, Newton says that means they're going to remain at rest unless it's acted upon by an external force. Does that mean, and by the way, in an autistic context, Orion, are you saying that's my problem? No. In fact, I think the external force can be you, yourself. It can be. I mean, you're not external to yourself, but still, if you are you and you're at rest, and you know that by maintaining not doing anything, you're not going to do anything, and the only way to do something is to do something, then there is a force within you that can push that along. But of course, it's important too for the support of others. Keeping in mind, if you're autistic, just by means of a diagnosis, you have daily support needs. Some may have significant, profound support needs. Some may have varying support needs, but support needs are part of a diagnosis. Okay, so the support needs may be an external force that helps an object at rest move. Does that make sense? To get your autistic person in motion. Talking about causes, autistic inertia can be triggered for various reasons. So let's go through a few. So, okay, an autistic person triggered to the point where they're at rest and they will remain at rest. They have lost the ability to move, to get into motion. Why? Sensory overload's a big one, right? All these things eat away at an autistic. Was I half Italian for a second there? An autistic person. An autistic person. Get me a pizza pie and a cafe latte. Because if I said latte, they'd just bring me hot milk. Even though anywhere else in the world you can say, can I have a latte, and you'll get a cafe latte. If you say that in Italy, apparently, they'll just give you hot milk. Why? Because they're cruel. They're not cruel. Oh, that's a joke. Anyway, I don't even know what I was talking about. What's this topic about? There's never anyone over there, by the way. I don't know why I look over there. Autistic inertia, that's right. Causes. How about executive function challenges? That's going to make it hard, right? So we've got sensory processing, sensory overload. We've got challenges with executive function. Remember, this is I like to say this whenever I can because I think it helps to sink in. So executive function is a set of cognitive skills. Did you know that? So your ability to master executive function is based on the set of cognitive skills being developed in your brain. Autism is a neurodevelopmental condition. Developmental. Executive function is a set of cognitive skills that have developed to allow you to master executive function. So executive function is hard. Why? We might not have the cognitive skills. They might not be there at all. Or they might not be fully developed. Will they ever develop to the extent of a neurotypical person? Well, the short answer is probably no. And that's why there's no use saying that autism isn't, from a medical point of view or whatever, a disability. I mean, I don't see how that's a bad thing because, okay, so there's a disability of a particular cognitive skill or set of cognitive skills. So you have it or you don't have it. You have the ability or you don't have it. Disability. Anyway, it's just the way it is. Mental health issues as an autistic person are a big challenge. And again, this isn't, so it's not that autism means that just because you're autistic, your life expectancy is shorter because the autism's gonna get you, right? So it's factual that in the modern day world, autistic people have a significantly shorter life expectancy. Now, there's exceptions to every rule, but you have to ask why. Now, it's not just because we're autistic. It's because of the byproducts of being autistic. Mental health issues will come about as a result of that. As a result of living in a world that doesn't really, well, does it accept you? I don't know. On their terms. I mean, it isn't kind of built for you. There aren't really the kind of ramps that you need, which are more mind ramps, adjustments to people rather than things. These don't exist. And that's going to lead to mental health concerns, anxiety, depression. I mean, couldn't it manifest in things too, like eating disorders, if your sensory issues and your food preferences are judged or frowned upon or punished in such a way that it actually results in a type of eating disorder or a type of issue with food or eating. I mean, so that could kill you too, right? So you see what I mean by the life expectancy? It's so many different things. It's way more nuanced and sophisticated than just saying, oh yeah, autistic people live less. Next. So it's important to note that autistic inertia is not laziness or a lack of ability, in the respect that because I'm not doing this thing, it's because I cannot do it. Not to say that autistic people don't lack certain abilities. We do. If we didn't, it wouldn't be a disability. And you don't have to agree with me. I'm just telling you what I think in my experience is the truth. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be on the National Disability Insurance Scheme. How would I? Right? Okay, anyway, doesn't matter. So look at it like this. It's a trait. It's a part of autism. And it's caused by multiple factors. So now we're looking at the autistic person in our life, not as defiant or lazy or whatever, but someone who has either been dysregulated through being autistic and is unable to create the motion, the external force that nudges the object of rest into motion, or simply lacks certain abilities that you may possess to achieve that. So let's go through some examples. What can autistic inertia look like? How does it manifest? So we're talking about a difficulty we as autistic person experience in initiating or changing an action or activity. Right? As an autistic person, it's hard. Like, it's one thing to say it's hard to do something. Like, take this for example. Right now, I'm talking to you, right? I'm doing a podcast. I really like this. I really like the idea of the microphone and the headphones and how it sounds. It sounds really cool. And I'm making something. And presumably people will listen to it and watch it. But for me, it's more about the idea that maybe I'll actually make someone laugh today, or maybe I'll make someone smile today, or maybe I'll teach someone something today. Like, to me, that's amazing. It doesn't mean that I just get up in the morning and bang. Like, it's taken me 2 weeks to get to the point where I can record this. 2 weeks. I may have to today record as many of these as possible, just so you have some sort of consistency. I don't know the next time I'm going to be able to do this, but I love doing this. But it's not as easy as just going, I'm going to do it. So it's not just about starting something, initiating something. It's about changing that action or activity. I'm going to record a podcast today. Something in the realm of the podcast isn't available, right? Okay, well then just record a YouTube video or record some shorts or write some stuff. No, I don't. No, I can't. I can't do that. That's a big change in activity or action, and there's something about it. So a couple of examples before we get to strategies. What autistic inertia can look like. Struggling to initiate a conversation with someone new. Now remember, as an autistic person with our challenges in social communication and interaction, these things aren't easy. You don't grow out of this ability. And people go, oh, can't you just learn it? It doesn't make any sense to say, so we're talking about a differently wired brain. It's not as easy just saying, yeah, but you can grow out of it or you can learn, right? That's not how the brain works. Sure, the brain can learn new things, but if you have a different brain, it's learning new things through an entirely different operating system, and they have parameters. So the idea of, frankly, I think sometimes I can have autistic inertia talking to my own family, let alone someone new. Like, that's a whole nother level of action to initiate. Do you have difficulty transitioning from one task to another? This is an interesting question too. So you're not at rest, you're in motion, right? That's right, but you're in motion doing one thing, and you're suggesting transferring, transitioning, switching from one to another. In many ways, that is like being in motion and slamming the brake on to come to rest, and then slamming the accelerator on to go back to motion to a new thing. And that, just saying that out loud makes me think there's no way that's going to happen. Another example of what autistic inertia can look like. Avoidance of trying new things or even engaging in new experiences. So we've talked about the idea of an autistic person, if they're at rest, they're going to remain at rest. If they do things, they're going to remain wanting to do those things. New things is a big deviation. It's going to need some serious external force, right? And I don't mean that in a bad way. And of course, we're going to talk about strategies. But you know what I mean by trying new things or engaging in new activities? That couldn't be more of a directional change. That has to be a significant gravitational pull of another planet getting us out of our orbit of this activity to a new activity. That's got to be a pretty strong gravitational pull. Without that, ain't happening. Reluctance to leave a familiar and comfortable environment. So you got somewhere to go. You just get up and go. That's what I do. Why can't you do that? Well, I'm saying neurotypical people may ask that question. This isn't about laziness or defiance. This reluctance to leave a familiar and comfortable environment can very much be put down to autistic inertia, an inability to stop engaging in repetitive behaviours. Again, let's just break this down. Repetitive behaviours, which autistic people can use as a form of regulation, as a form of sensory processing, self-stimulatory behaviours, right, to regulate ourselves in a world that seeks to dysregulate us, is an action. We're at action in its basic terms. We are in motion. We are an object in motion. We're engaging in repetitive activities. That's us in motion. So unless there's an external force, we're going to remain in that motion. So you're saying we should just stop the repetitive behaviour. That goes against Newton's law. Okay, so what's going to stop us? An external force, right? You're saying we just get up and go. Well, I'm just telling you that that's actually a real challenge for autistic people. Same as resistance to change, to routine changes, to schedule changes. These are particular forms of motion. Changes in routine, in schedule, in just changes in general, are a deviation off our motion. As I said, that object in space moving in a straight line unless affected by an external force. Now, that's why it can be so hard for autistic people to just accept, willingly change, alterations to routines, schedules, plans, those kinds of things. So it's it's not just laziness and defiance. Oh, wow, really? Struggling to start or complete a school assignment or maybe work stuff. So forget about finishing it. Autistic inertia can mean you can't even start it. School assignments, right? Uni assignments, work stuff. It's I just can't get started. Now, I find from my experience in like, say, uni, for example, I find this was horrible for me. And in many ways, it was kind of debilitating. You were frozen, right? But when I was able to start, I found it very hard to stop. And again, this makes sense. This is actually a direct reflection of autistic inertia. When I was at rest, when I couldn't do it, I couldn't do it. But once I could do it and I was in motion, I couldn't stop, or I didn't want to stop. So it's really interesting that the way it looks, you can reverse that and see how the strategies can help. Another way autistic inertia can look, an avoidance of physical activities or sports. And, let's think about it logically. Well, that's movement, right? That's motion. But if you're not doing the physical activities or sport, how are you going to get moving if you're at rest? I actually really love outdoors. I actually really love sport. But to say that if I know I need to get out there and I just do it, it would be a lie. And once I get out there and let's say I'm playing some basketball, shooting some hoops, whatever, kicking the footy, it's like I could do this forever. It's hard to give up. But getting out there, and especially when people say, oh, it's a beautiful day, you should go outside and get some fresh air or, play a bit of basketball, kick the footy. It's like that is not an external force that's going to help me move. So it's really interesting. Difficulty initiating or sustaining eye contact. Because again, that's an action, right? That's a motion. And I guess the last one before we do strategies, a reluctance to try new foods or try new tastes. Oh, man. Change the menu on me. Thanks so much. What am I going to eat now? I don't know, a bowl of cereal. All right, so that's some examples of how autistic inertia can look like. And, in social situations, it can make it really difficult, right, to initiate, to be a part of conversations, to make friends, to engage in activities, hobbies. In occupational settings, it can make it really difficult to initiate complete tasks, to meet deadlines, to move up the corporate ladder, to advance your career. It's tricky. It's debilitating for some autistic people, autistic inertia. So how can we help? Key strategies. Autistic inertia can be bloody challenging, can be a real barrier for autistic people to overcome. All right. So how about some strategies that can be used to manage and overcome autistic inertia? The first one is try breaking tasks into smaller, manageable steps. So this makes it easier to get started. If there's something ahead of you and there's nothing that's going to make you want to get into motion, then what if you fragment it down, break it down, make it easier, more manageable? That will make it easier to get into motion, because once you move to that small little step, that small little thing, the rest doesn't seem so big anymore. And already you're in motion now. Focus on one task at a time. Increase the sense of accomplishment as you progress. And, to me, this is one of those lessons that everyone can learn. I mean, we're past the days now, of the old space shuttles, right? And we're on to more advanced ways of getting up into the space station and exploring. But what we're not past is, space maintenance, right? So now this is a very old philosophy that was used by NASA astronauts, and it can be used today. And that is the idea of one task at a time, and even more than that, one step, one focus of that task at a time. And a classic story, a classic example is, so let's say there's two astronauts on a spacewalk to fix a telescope, okay? They have to remove a faulty lens and install a new lens or something to make the lens is not right. So in order to do that, they've got to they're in space walking, they're probably going to spend 12 hours to unscrew the back, remove one lens, put another lens in, fix it, screw the back in, and get inside. Right. So what on Earth may take, I don't know, what do you reckon? Less than an hour? Will take maybe 12 hours, and that's while you're flying around the planet in orbit. And you don't go, if you're the ground control, you don't go, all right, mate, go ahead and just go ahead and unscrew the back there and open her up. No. We're talking about spacewalking. We're talking about trying to remove screws from a back panel of a telescope in space while wearing things that make oven mitts look like tight-fitting gloves. Have you ever tried to remove screws in oven mitts? Imagine NASA-style oven mitts. That's hard. No one wants to do that. So all we ever hear, if you ever are that astronaut from the people down on the Earth, is, Orion, can you go ahead and remove bolt or screw 1? That's it. You start removing that. Once it's removed, you can say, I've removed bolt 1. Well done, Orion. Can you please go ahead and start to remove bolt 2? So it isn't, hey, Orion, get all those bolts out and open up the hatch, mate. Let's get going, right? See what I mean? That's not good. When you're on a spacewalk wearing, like the world's biggest, most advanced oven mitts to try and unscrew bolts to open up the back of a telescope to remove one lens, put a new lens in, fix that, close the door, screw them back in. It's like, oh, bloody hell, I've done all that and I've got to screw all this back in now. I mean, for goodness sakes, I've been out here for 12 hours. This is nuts, right? But that is a classic NASA philosophy. And it actually works with autistic people, one thing at a time. Don't be overwhelmed by the task. Focus on each step. Now, that's a long example for the first point, but that's okay. You can fast forward through or whatever. Using visual supports, they help. So we're talking schedules, checklists, social stories. So a visual reminder of your tasks, of your goals, the things that you want to do, helps you stay organized, keeps you on track, keeps you focused and motivated. Another great way to navigate autistic inertia. Incorporating routine and structure into your daily activities. So this can help because I guess, so how does it help, Orion? Well, doesn't it make you feel more safe and secure and comfortable if your routine and the tasks that you need to do or want to do are part of your daily structure, your routine? So the activities are part of your structure, your daily routine. It's worth a try. Using positive reinforcement and rewards for completing tasks. Now, you might think, hang on, what do you mean, like bribing my kid? Oh, that's good. I'm talking about for adults. I'm talking about what I do. Yes, I'm saying what I do for me. So this could be something as simple as allowing me to watch a favorite show of mine at the moment. If I can complete this task, you know what I'm going to do? Even if I remove one bolt, right? Even if I remove one bolt, not all of them, I'm going to go downstairs and watch my favorite show for half an hour or whatever, or for an hour. That actually stops autistic inertia because I'm not giving myself these unrealistic expectations. People go, but just like normal people, normal kids have to complete the task before they get a reward. Who cares? If you've got an autistic kid and an autistic partner, they're not neurotypical. So we celebrate the wins, my friends, and this builds confidence. Maybe sometimes it's about food, right? And I don't mean just for kids, like for me. Treat myself to my favorite snack or my favorite type of food as a reinforcement, as a reward for completing a task. Now, again, completing a task in autistic terms doesn't mean completing the full task all the time. It can. It may mean completing, like I said, a smaller, manageable step of that task. That's still a win. It helps motivation, right? So you're engaging with them or yourself. It's engaging you to do something, and it's motivating you and giving you more confidence, more satisfaction. Another strategy is gradually exposing yourself or the autistic person in your life to new experiences and activities. So that means things like encouraging, not ordering, not making, but encouraging. Encouraging in the same way, like, let's say you went to the doctor and they gave you a pamphlet about how to toilet train your toddler. Like those kind of things, right? When you read them, they're all in very positive language. That they'll say, don't say to your toddler if they've just mentioned they need to go to the toilet. Don't say to them, do it on the toilet. Come on, you've got to do it on the toilet. It's time to go on the toilet, right? Then they're going to say, oh, okay. Would you like to try it on the toilet? Right? Different things like that. Encouraging. Do you want to go outside and play a bit of basketball? Should we go for a walk? What do you reckon about kicking the footy? Like encouraging these types of activities, these exercise things, these things that can break cycles. You could also offer choice. Again, this isn't about the autistic person wanting control in a way that you think is like a malicious control. See, people think when they hear control, they think bad. No, autistic people may want to control every facet of their life, which includes you, and therefore you feel like you're just an actor in a movie and the autistic person in your life is a director, and you've got no control, right? Well, that's not true. At its basic term, you have complete control in your life. What I'm saying, or none, what I'm saying is the control that they're looking for is based on their own personal anxieties, their own personal challenges in navigating a neurotypical world. Now, if they have choice and the ability to control the controllables over these types of tasks and activities, they're more likely to initiate them, to start them, to do them, to complete them. So try and look at this type of control as a good thing, as a sign that they actually need to feel safe. They're not trying to make me do things I don't want to do. I hope that makes sense. Using social and emotional support from the people around you is important. So friends, family. Talk to your friends, talk to your family. Maybe you want to go and see a therapist, a psychologist. It provides a sense of encouragement and comfort if you can use social supports, emotional supports of your safe people, as in the people around you that you trust, that believe in you, that are there to support you. That can help you navigate yourself through autistic inertia. You've really got to try and incorporate more leisure and play into your day as an autistic person. And I think that's anything that makes you happy. So if there's things you really want to do today and you're finding it hard to move from being at rest to getting into motion, incorporate things that make you happy. But don't let that rule your day. It could be play and leisure outside, inside. But if you incorporate those, it makes it easier to feel like, you know what, I feel like I really want to go and do that now. Rather than this idea of waking up and having it hanging over your head. Oh, I've got to do it. You've got to practice self-care as well. You want to navigate through autistic inertia. Look after yourself. Now, I'll say this as in what I would do, but if you're a parent or a carer, then you can just flip it onto what you would do for them. So I would encourage myself to take breaks, right? Take regular breaks. Engage in activities that bring you joy. Now, again, that is taking a regular break. What are you going to do? Stuff that makes you happy, brings you joy. But if I'm in motion doing something, why would I want to be at rest? That disputes the purpose. No, because so it's going to be very tricky if you're in motion doing something to bring yourself to rest because you need an external force, right? Okay. And that external force is engaging in something that brings you joy, which is actually a break, which provides you with more energy and motivation to get back into motion, doing something else when you need to. You've got to take care of yourself physically and mentally and emotionally. You've got to think about your well-being. Now, autistic inertia says, well, that makes no sense. The point of autistic inertia is I can't bring myself to have a shower or any kind of hygiene practices or any kind of self-care or get up and make myself something to eat or get up and get a drink or exercise my body or move my body, right? Autistic inertia stops me from self-care. And I'm saying that a strategy to overcome autistic inertia is to practice self-care. Now, again, that doesn't make any sense to some people, right? Well, if you're at rest and you don't want to shower and you're saying showering helps you, that those two don't make sense. What I'm saying is if you're able to take care of yourself, I know this sounds strange, but if you're able to find ways to practice self-care, that will actually help you reduce the feelings and the experiences of autistic inertia. I know it sounds contradictory, but you have to understand that sometimes the best way to stop yourself from feeling like you can't do something you want to do is by finding something that you can do. And if that means something that you really love doing, what usually happens is from that you can then go, I think I can have a shower now. I think I can get dressed. I think I can have something to eat. And then that can help you lead to the next thing. So it's about looking at it as a holistic approach. I reckon the final one is, and it's a really simple one, you've just got to self-reflect, right? You've got to encourage yourself to self-reflect on where the autistic inertia is manifesting, how it's manifesting, why it's manifesting, what helped it this time, what doesn't help it. And that leads to self-motivation. You're able to navigate this yourself. This is done in many ways. You know how you just self-reflect. You can talk to yourself. You can write stuff down. You can journal it. You can make goals. You can record it, whatever. Autistic inertia is definitely a frustrating challenge for autistic people. But you know what? It's really important to approach it with compassion and understanding. And just understanding it, I think, will help you not only appreciate the challenges that autistic people can go through, but really help you support them or help you support yourself.
My Friend Autism with Orion Kelly. Catch up on all the episodes at orionkelly.com.au.
I hope you enjoyed our little chat. Topic of autistic inertia and our friend Sir Isaac Newton. Thank you, Sir Isaac. Very smart stuff. Hey, I appreciate your support. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey where we're helping change the world and raise that level of understanding, acceptance, and appreciation of autistic community. Until my next podcast, thank you so much for watching or listening, and we'll talk soon.
You've been listening to My Friend Autism with Orion Kelly. To join the conversation, get in touch with Orion and binge all the podcasts, blogs and videos, visit orionkelly.com.au.